This is Trophy Gold, the Cross Stitch, Part 1. I want to start by having all of us introduce ourselves. So when I call on you, please say your names, or your name, your pronouns, and anything else you would like for us to know about you. I will start, though. My name is Jason. I use he, him. I am the co-publisher of Trophy Gold, along with the game's creator, Jesse Ross. And I'm very excited to run this module for you over the next few weeks. Let's go over to Jim.
My keyboard unmute wasn't working. Hey, everybody, I'm Jim Crocker. I generally use he, him, but if you're using they, them more generically, that's totally fine with me too. I run and play a whole lot of games online, including on the Gauntlet. And if you've seen my name associated with Trophy, it's because I've got an incursion in the Dark Book, and I wrote a chunk of content for Trophy Loom, and I've done some gold stuff that's appeared in Codex. Really looking forward to this. As Jason was saying earlier off camera, I haven't had a chance to play in a while, so I'm very excited to be part of this game.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Let's go to Jazzy.
Hi. I'm Jazzy. She, her, they, them is also okay. I've played Trophy Gold one time before, and I've also played with Jason one time before, although that was Trophy Dark. And as you already saw in the camera, I have a cat who has decided that he wants attention too, so he'll probably, you'll see him come around sometime.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's go to Daniel.
Hi, my name's Daniel. I've run a bunch of trophy games. I have only played a handful of times, so I'm very excited to be here.
Fabulous. Thank you, Daniel.
I use
sorry.
he, him. Sorry, yeah, I use he, him pronouns.
Thanks. And finally, let's go to Billy.
Yeah, my name's Billy, he, him. I've never played Trophy, but I just started running a bunch of it. So I've run a bunch of Dark. This is my first time doing any gold stuff, but I'm pretty excited.
Fantastic. Thank you. So speaking of cats, I'm going to start with an introductory procedure called CATS. That is an acronym that stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. I like to do this in order to establish some basic expectations for what we're going to be doing, not just today, but for the remainder of our time together over the next few weeks. And so I will start with concept. Trophy Gold is a game about desperate treasure hunters going into the lost and forgotten parts of the world. They have one goal: to acquire treasure in order to fund a very expensive drive that they all have. This is entirely hubristic behavior. They're not quite as doomed as the Trophy Dark characters, but they are significantly have the thumb on the scale is not in their favor. Let's just put it that way. They're always on the knife's edge, in danger of plunging into irredeemable poverty. The game is probably most closely connected aesthetically with like old school adventuring party games, but mechanically, it is very much a collaborative storytelling game. So we'll talk more about that later. This particular incursion, it's not an incursion, this module that we're doing is called the Cross Stitch. It is by Ben Mansky, and it's actually a Morkborg module. And I don't want to say too much about it, except if you have an understanding of Morkborg, the level that Morkborg operates on, that's sort of where we're at here. Okay, the aim. The aim of the characters in the story is to find treasure. In this particular adventure, they have one other like kind of overarching goal they're trying to achieve as well, but ultimately they're trying to find treasure. The aim of you as individual players is to tell a good story. We embrace both the play to lose and play to win ethos here at Trophy Gold HQ. Play to lose and play to win. It's play to win mostly. Like, you're trying to keep your character alive. You want them to be an ongoing concern after the cross stitch is over. But it might come that you are not able to save them and they are going to fall to ruin or whatever, in which case you should then embrace play to lose and try to give us the best possible story. The aim of us as a group today, after my spiel, I'm going to pause the recording. We're going to make characters, and then we'll come back. We'll introduce them. I will talk about a couple of rules things I want to talk about, and then I'll introduce the adventure, and then we'll take a break. So when we get back from the break, we'll continue playing, and then we'll stop 10 minutes early to have a debrief. We'll do that next week. We'll just start with play and then play until debrief and so forth. The tone. This adventure, I would say, is pretty dark. It doesn't seem that way at first. It gets increasingly dark as it goes. So that's sort of the tone. It's also very mysterious. There is a mystery going on here. And I'm going to do my best within the boundaries of what Trophy Gold does to try to preserve that mystery. I think it's going to be a little tricky for me as a GM because Trophy Gold, of course, is very like writer's room collaborative storytelling. But there are certain things I don't want you to know about it. And so I'm going to do my best to keep those things behind a veil. Subject matter. So there's actually, despite the fact this is a Morkborg module, there's not much in this that I would probably flag as like subject matter worthy. It's just generally kind of dark and dark fantasy. There's no particular things going on. There's one incident of like, it's a remote possibility, but there's a possibility of like a cow getting sacrificed. I think that's as hard as it goes, to be honest. It's otherwise just very like weird and creepy. But in any case, we will have safety tools on the table. We have 3 safety tools. The first is the X card. In the context of this video chat, if you something happens in the story that you just find objectionable or you want to change for some reason, you don't have to explain why. You can just say X card and I'll stop play and we will change it and then we'll continue playing. It's no big deal. We will have the open door policy in play. That is very simple. You can just leave for any reason. You don't have to stay. And then finally, we're going to do roaming lines and veils. Roaming lines and veils is what I've been doing lately. Lines and veils more generally. Lines are things that we don't want to have in the story at all. And then veils are things that we prefer to keep off screen. So we're okay with them being in the story. We just prefer not to role play them. As an example, my roaming lines and veils would be, if we're not going to get there, but if they would, I would put like sexual violence behind a line. I don't want to role play that or have that in the story. And I would put torture behind a veil. I'm okay with torture being a thing. I just prefer not to role play it. Roaming just means you don't have to think about every possibility right now. Just as we're playing, if something looks like it's coming up, just be like, hey, can we not do that? And then we'll line it. So, I think that's all I've got for cats. Are there any questions about cats? Okay, then in that case, we are going to pause the recording and make characters. If you're watching the video, we'll see you in like 1 second. Okay, we are back. So let's go ahead and introduce our treasure hunters from the left to right on the character keeper, starting with Jazzy and Quinn. Here, Jazzy, we just need to know the basics, like your occupation, your background, your drive. It's okay if you don't know much about Quinn's drive yet in terms of what it actually means. We'll figure that out as we play. But otherwise, just tell us what you want us to know.
All right. So I will be playing Quinn, she, they pronouns. They are currently, I don't actually know how to pronounce this word properly, but demonologist, demon person.
Demonologist, yeah.
Demonologist. That's how I do it. All right. So they are currently that. And their background is that they are a devoted widow, or mourning somebody that they loved. And yet their drive is to give your betrothed a present-day grave. So I think that will be very interesting to figure out how that aligns. I think the whole demon thing is definitely playing into that, and there's this potentially very strange and messed up situation going on about grieving loss and not wanting to accept that loss. My ritual, I picked only the one, which is door. I can draw a door on a solid barrier and create a portal to go through it. Should I go over the equipment as well, or should I?
If there's something you want to point out, otherwise it doesn't matter. It's whatever you want. Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing is that it says fake crafted chainmail, but I think it's more like a a demon,
Yeah.
like demon crafted chainmail. So I
Right.
think that she does have this. Same with the amulet of protection. I think that it all looks rather, eerie and dark, rather than nature inspired that Faye might imply.
Yeah,
And
your
I
drive is.
think,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were done. Sorry. Finish.
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's I think all you need to know for now.
I think it's interesting that your drive is to give your betrothed the present they crave, because the drives, the implication is they are like fabulously expensive, right? Like so expensive you'll never actually achieve it. And so
Exactly.
so yeah, that's really intriguing. Yeah, with the whole demon thing. Yeah, I like it. It's fun. All right, let's keep going to Jim and Kiva.
Yeah, I am Kiva, he, him. I am currently a guide because by being a guide, you can be out in the wilderness where the bill collectors from the Southern Pass Company cannot find you because the massive pilgrimage that we mounted, of which I ended up being the only survivor, cost a whole lot of money, and they would like to see that recouped, and I am the only person that they can come after to get it back. I've got my rituals are guide, which makes sense because I'm a guide. I can do foraging, hunting. I've got paths and saints. And I also took the orchard ritual because the idea
I've
that
never seen this one. What does it do?
you conjure a few dozen apples, some poisonous.
That's
So
great. That's a
looking forward
trophy
to
ass
seeing
spell if I've ever heard
exactly.
of one. Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing how that plays out and whether it might have had a hand in, the success or not of our pilgrimage when I learned that ritual.
Like,
So,
do you know they're poisonous? Do you know which ones are? Who knows? Yeah, it's fun.
oh my God, I absolutely have no idea. I'm sure that's that's way more fun to have it.
I love it.
I just don't know. And for my equipment, I've got honey. And I took vermin repellent, but like going with because we've got like a whole bee theme happening, because I took honey, you gave me a kind of a weird bee related object. So I'd like that vermin repellent to basically be a smoker for
like a sensor,
like flying insects and whatever, and maybe it can work on other stuff if that doesn't apply at this. But that's in that form. For my combat equipment, I have a stiff canvas apron and a beekeeper mask as my armor, and a curved ritual knife for my weapon.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's go over to Daniel and Basso.
I'm Basso, he, him pronouns. He's a sellsword. He's a grounded sailor. He may have been kicked off of his last ship for unknown reasons. And currently his drive is to finance an expedition into the Blossoming Sea. Probably needs a ship for that. And then his rituals are drain, which remove all water from a creature, and flow, shape and command bodies of water.
I love it. Yeah, it's good.
Generic other stuff.
Sounds good. Finance an expedition into the Blossoming Sea. One wonders if you were if you're a grounded sailor because maybe you tried to shortcut getting a boat to the Blossoming Sea via mutiny. But who knows? We'll let you decide. I love it. Thank you so much. We'll never know, or maybe we will. Who knows? Let's go to Billy and Valen.
All right. Well, Valen, he, they, any pronoun really. His occupation, background, and drive. It was really funny because I rolled for pretty much all of it, so it kind of worked out. But he's a leech, and he has blood deduction surgery. Background is expelled apprentice, for I'm sure reasons that would be fairly obvious. And the drive that also fits in with both of those is bribe the justiciars so they erase your crimes. I took numb as a ritual because I thought that as like I just kind of tossed it up, reduce sensation within a creature. That's fun. And then for my backpack equipment, rolled randomly again. I got the, like we talked earlier, Ashes of Your Grandmother, Blasphemous Book, and a shovel. Yeah.
I love it. So if your drive is to bribe the justiciars, for your drive to be a bribe, that means your crime has to have been really something, right?
Yeah, I think it almost got him like his expulsion happened, back alley leeching things, and then who knows from there.
Yeah, I feel like
Something
it
that
probably
cost
goes
me a lot
pretty
of gold.
deep. Yeah, it
Yeah.
probably goes pretty deep. Okay, I love all of these characters so far. Yeah, it's good. Let me talk about a couple of rules things that I want to discuss before we continue. So the first thing I want you to know is that Trophy Gold is a collaborative storytelling game. It has the trappings of a traditional fantasy adventure game, but it is in fact very, very collaborative in the way that the story develops. I have a module, and unlike a written for trophy incursion, the module has a lot more detail and a lot more like specific things that will happen. But even with that, there is still a lot of space to sort of create our story within that, right? And so we do that in a few different ways. One of the biggest ways is I will frequently just ask you questions. I will ask you questions about your past, about the world, about the scene, about your drive. Always just go with the answer that makes the most sense. If you can't think of anything else, or just go with the simple answer. Sometimes that's the best answer. Think about your drive. Your drive is a terrific touchstone when you are thinking about how to answer these questions that get posed to you throughout the game. The other way it happens is a more mechanical way, which is through a die roll called the risk roll. Now, the risk roll has several parts, but one part of it is called the devil's bargain. And the devil's bargain is basically the way it works is, okay, you're doing the risk roll, you're building a pool of dice in order to accomplish the task. And in order to get extra dice, you can accept a devil's bargain from myself or another player or whoever has been designated to do the devil's bargain. Sometimes I just call on someone to do it. The devil's bargain is something that happens in the story no matter what, whether you succeed or fail. So, for example, let's say Kiva is trying to jump across a ravine, and I offer to Jim, I say, well, Jim, as a devil's bargain, no matter what, you're going to drop your curved ritual knife down the ravine. If you succeed at jumping across the ravine, it's because it just fell out of your pocket, if you take the deal. If you take the deal and you fail, it's because Kiva also fell down the ravine, right? Like that's kind of how that works. Jazzy, of course, is going to offer a much more interesting devil's bargain. Jazzy might say, no matter what, there's a representative from the Southern Pass Company on the other side of the ravine, right? And so this is an interesting devil's bargain because it suddenly introduces something, a new story element, and in particular, a story element focused on Kiva's drive. So that's sort of, the devil's bargains are almost an invitation to look at the other characters' drives and think about what it might mean. Or it could be something simple, like dropping your knife down the ravine. So that's sort of devil's bargains, how they work. So yeah, collaborative storytelling, very important. The other thing, before we begin, I want to talk about this game's particular economy of play. So the adventure is divided up into sets and set goals. And set goals are things that we are trying to accomplish in the story. Either the characters are trying to accomplish it, or we as players are trying to accomplish it. Frequently, the set goals are something the characters don't even know about, right? It's just something that we think would be interesting as a play group to accomplish. Set goals can be achieved in two different ways. You can just achieve it because your character pushes the right button or opens the right door or whatever. Or you can all pool your currency called hunt tokens in order to automatically accomplish the set goal. So you'll be collecting this particular currency called hunt tokens, and you can all decide to spend 3 at once to automatically achieve the set goal. Why might you want to do that versus just opening the right door? Well, maybe your ruin is about to top out and you don't have a lot of time left and you need to hurry up and accomplish what you're trying to do. So you just decide to short circuit the process by spending the 3 tokens. Maybe very clever players will be like, whoa, it'd be super cool in the story right now is if this happened right now. Like, let's spend the tokens right now to make it happen, right? So that's sort of the deal. It was described to me once as power gaming for story gamers. So I'm kind of here for that. Min-maxing narrative outcomes. That is how that goes. One note about the hunt tokens. Another way you can spend the hunt tokens is to just find a treasure. Your characters have a burden score, and you have to find treasure equal to gold that equals that burden score by the end of this. If you don't, then your character's retired from play. And so you can just spend a token to be like, oh, hey, I want to find a treasure, and I will give you a treasure. So that's how that goes. I think that's all I want to say in terms of rules and all that business. Is there anything else? Does anybody have any questions about anything before we begin? Okay, then what I'm going to do is introduce the adventure, and then we'll take a break. So here, just pay attention. The cross stitch. Sunderfall was never much to look at, no more than a few scattered houses and a laughably small town center. But as one of the only outposts on the perilous trek between Tveland and the Western Kingdom, travelers came to rely on it for a brief respite from the road. Until a week ago, when rumor reached Schleswig that Sunderfall had vanished entirely. Whole buildings gone without a trace, their inhabitants with them. The paranoid King Fatmu IX seized on this rumor, his darkest fears all but confirmed. His kingdom was crumbling, and now unseen enemies conspired to snatch his subjects right from beneath his nose. Furious, he sent a group of guards to investigate and exact revenge. They found nothing but an empty stretch of road. As was his wont, Fatmu turned to prophecy. A priestess of Verhu, under no small duress, gave word that the town's disappearance foreshadowed something much, much worse. She told of a being from outside, threatening to pierce this already fragile reality, a strange, menacing deity, an enemy of the sisters, an enemy of any and all life in a dying world. Whipped into a frenzy, Fatmu demanded that the priestess locate Sunderfall immediately and stop this creature, lest she face a slow and painful death. The panicked priestess scrapped together a ritual to reveal the hidden and lost, and sent a band of mercenaries on their way. After days with no word, she sent another, and yet another. None returned. Running out of time and options, the priestess now turns to the scum populating King Fatmu's dungeon, which is to say, you. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Do think about how you ended up in King Fatmu's dungeon. Valen, this will be a crime separate from your drive-related crime. So I'll see you all in 5. King Fatmu has made a surprisingly generous offer, actually. First of all, he's going to give you back all your stuff. So that's one thing you'll have access to in a minute. Also, he's willing to pay a very generous sum of money if you can figure out what happened to Sunderfall and destroy this entity he's so concerned about. You know, a small thing. But it's a handsome reward, equal to, it's a big chest of silver, which is equal to 2 gold for each of you in game terms, which is a lot, actually. A group of guards has taken you all to the crossroads where Sunderfall used to be. They have all your stuff in bundles. You all are, until you get your stuff, you're just there in your, in your small clothes or whatever. And they don't have you chained up or anything. You're allowed to wander about within reason. The captain of the guard, a hard woman with a scar across her left eye, says, "All right, The four of you just stay there while we make the preparations. And she's got a piece of paper in her hand and she's like looking at it. And she's like, okay. And she goes over to what appears to be a rough circle that has been scratched in the dirt in the crossroads. It's been scratched more than once. And she's going down and she's scratching it in anew as she looks at this piece of paper. Let's just have the scene with the four of you while you wait. Your first set goal is to walk through the smoke. What does that mean? Who knows? Perhaps it'll be clear soon enough. But in any case, just have the scene with the four of you. You can look around. You can, do anything that's basically not combat or a ritual because you don't have your stuff yet. So let's just have the scene. And then whenever I want to interrupt, I will. Roleplay.
So Kiva is standing there like in whatever rags they gave us to wear in the prison and just kind of looking around, nodding in a like, well, I should have expected this kind of way, like doesn't look relieved that like he's not in jail anymore, but it's just kind of like lets this out this long sigh, and says, so friends, what fate worse than incarceration in that terrible hole do you think awaits us?
I think Valen kind of like heads just dropped basically. All right, so are we like chained up still? Are we
No,
just waiting? Or are we
they're
just kinda
they're letting
standing around?
you can wander about as long as you don't go
Oh,
far.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
You're on the team now. So
yeah. He's kind of he's a little bit sullen, but I think that he responds more or less like, I don't think it can be worse than in there, even death, which isn't that bad, I hear.
Oh, it's not death I'm worried about, my friend. Death would be quick, probably fairly painless. They've gotten quite good at using that gallows. They use it quite a bit. Well, do any of you know what that symbol she was carving in the road means?
you can certainly go walk over there and see what she's doing.
I'm going to do that. After he
Yeah,
says that, I'll be like, well, let's go bother her.
I was going to
Sure she
say
won't
that I
mind.
think Quinn was sort of like already kind of ignoring the conversation and just like very like not even like trying to really hide it, but just like very calmly like going over and looking at the signal and almost like absentmindedly like tracing it herself as if, the action of writing it is
Yeah.
going to trigger a memory.
Make a hunt roll. So a hunt roll, you get one light die just for asking a question or looking at something. You get another light die if you can make a case that your skills or a piece of equipment, well, you don't have any equipment, but your skills would be helpful.
Well, I have a skill in demons, so perhaps if this is like
Oh,
even
like
slightly
a ritual
related or
thing. Yeah, I'll take it.
a ritual
yeah.
thing.
So go to the die roller, go to the hunt, and just do 2 dice. Okay, you got a 4.
What?
You get a token, but you encounter something terrible. The only thing that's ever at stake in the hunt roll is whether you get a token or whether you encounter something terrible. What you learn is always up to me, no matter what the dice say.
Mhm.
So just FYI. You're looking over her shoulder. Maybe all of you are now, or some of you are. And
Yeah, I definitely followed her over there.
Yeah.
I'm close enough to hear, but far enough away to try to seem disinterested.
Very good. There is a pattern there. She's taken out some thick black cord and she's laying it along this pattern in the circle. She has a piece of paper that she keeps like referring to, and she's doing it. And she kind of looks over her shoulder and she's like, "Can I help you?"
I think you certainly may.
Yeah. Just stand back while I do this. This is very important. It's a very important part of the process.
Can't be that important if that's your technique. And I'll just back up a little bit.
Snarls a bit. "I owe you something terrible."
You do.
For just a brief second, you actually catch a flicker of light, as if reflecting off a window. But when you look, there's nothing there. Meanwhile, Basso, what are you doing? Hanging out back there.
Are there any other guards nearby?
Yes,
I just want to be like first in line to get my stuff back.
Yeah, they brought you with a pretty good sized retinue of 6 guards. And there is one person who's watching all the stuff, and he kind of sees you and he's like, "Don't worry, friend, you're gonna get your stuff back. We were even
when?
given explicit instructions not to rifle through it beforehand. Lucky you."
Oh. Better I'll be there.
"Oh, fear not, fear not. By the looks of it, it's no great treasure hoard. I don't think you have to worry too much about anybody pilfering something from it."
Could I hear them say that? from where I am?
Yeah, this is all audible.
Yeah, I'll like do the fingers. My grandmother is in that. Can we just make sure that the ashes? There's a can of ashes in there.
He's like,
Or
"Oh,
a jar.
I thought that was food seasoning."
Well, to some, not to me.
He's like, "Ah." And he just laughs. Not entirely clear whether he used your grandmother as food seasoning or not, to be perfectly honest.
Well, when you're in jail or
Indeed.
whatever.
Why did you end up in jail, Valen? How did you end up in King Fatma's dungeon?
I think I was a go-between for organ sales.
Very good.
So I think I was a courier, more or less. I got caught.
Indeed, indeed. Quinn, how'd you end up in King Fatma's dungeon?
I wasn't. I thought of something else, but hearing Valen's bit, I think it might be very interesting if I was the buyer.
That's good.
Because I think that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I was the buyer, and our deal didn't go very well.
I think the woman guard who's doing the ritual, she looks up at you and she kind of like, she says, "I hope you have a stomach for what's about to happen."
Oh, don't you worry about that. Do you?
Of course, of course. I've got a heart for many things.
How sweet.
Eva, what are you doing right now?
Just kind of looking around, and I'm just going to walk up to one of the, kind of bored guards that's hanging out there, chatting with another one, like complaining about how they're like here on the road instead of in the city. And just kind of ask them if they know anything about these. And as a player, let me make sure I'm getting this right. There's been like disappearances on the road or something like this.
The whole village disappeared.
Yes. Okay. All right.
And then,
yeah. Whether any of them knew anybody from the village, or whether it was like any of them are from that area, or what they've heard about it. Because my hunch is we may have something to do with why we are being sent down the road here.
Yeah, make a hunt roll.
Sure.
1 die, just because. 1 die if you have a skill that works.
I mean, like kibitzing with the guards, not really. So I'm just gonna go ahead and
Roll 1 die.
although you know what, my occupation as a guide, I do spend time talking to people about what's going on in the area and stuff like that. I'll make the case for that.
Yeah, I'll take the. Yeah, you can make that case.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I think it's fair. Go ahead.
Cool. So this is going to be a hunt roll. Hunt 2.
Yeah, hunt too light.
I encounter something terrible.
Indeed, you do. Kiva, what did you do to get thrown into the dungeon?
I basically punched a cop because, like, like I had to go into the city for something, and I turned a corner, and there's a couple of the the like the leg breakers from the, what is the name of this, from the Southern Pass Company, and there's a watchman right there. So I just walked up to him and just bopped him in the nose, like not hard or anything, but just enough to piss him off enough that he arrested me so that it would keep me out of the hands of the Southern Pass Company.
He pulls off his helmet to reveal his
Yeah.
bruised nose. And he says, "Oh, I know a little something about what's going on here, friend. But I like the idea of you going in there blind a little more. I will tell you this, though. Everyone who's walked through the smoke hasn't come back yet, and I don't think you're going to come back either."
Again, I am very sorry. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, no, I have no animus towards you. I must repeat that.
Meanwhile, the ritual is proceeding apace. Valen, what are you doing right now?
I think that I'm still kind of watching the ritual. I think that I'm still kind of talking at the woman doing it. She's like, "Oh, so like, does this get us through there? What exactly is this for? Is this the first time you've done this? You're going a little slow, stuff like that." Just kind of bothering her.
You can make a hunt roll.
Okay. I mean, I have lore or deduction.
I like them both. I think that's a good justification for going ahead and doing the thing. So go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so 2.
Yes, do.
Hunt 2.
You got a 6. Very good. Take your token. She's just ignoring you. She's got nothing to say to you. She finds this whole situation very annoying and anxiety provoking. But while you're chatting with her, you do notice something. A crumpled piece of paper on the ground. Who knows how long it's been there, but it hasn't blown away yet, so it can't have been there that long. I'm going to put it, I'm going to give it just to you, Valen. You can pick it up. I'm going to send it to you in chat, Billy. You can look at it later, do whatever you want to do with it, share it with the group as you wish. In the meantime,
if I may, I will go to Phelan and just say to him, "You carry your grandmother with you. I think that's very sweet of you. Don't mind them."
Oh, thank you very much. It's more like an obligation. I didn't really get along with her when she was alive.
Oh,
But, I mean, from what I know, she was nice. There's just nobody else left to carry her.
well, it's sweet that you are. Family ties are, well, they bind us, do they? Don't they? Even if love is sometimes complicated.
That is the first sane thing I've heard in this place for a long time. I completely agree. Would she see me like picking up this piece of paper?
no one noticed you do that.
Okay.
Did Quinn notice you? It's up to
Yeah,
you whether you think
Oh, yeah, I'll leave it
Quinn
up to
did or
you.
not. Yeah.
Well, she was kind of like inquiring about specifically the ritual at first. That's why I followed her over here. So I think after I look at it, if you want to share it with her too, I'd be like, I found this. I heard you talking about sorceress things. So I don't know if this makes
Well,
any
that's a
sense to you.
very sweet word for it. Thank you.
Yeah, I try to watch what I say sometimes.
At this point, the guard who is laying out the cord along this little path, she takes out matches and she lights the cord on fire. The cord begins to sputter and spew smoke. And eventually the whole area is starting to be filled with smoke, though it doesn't really get much past the circle. It's sort of just, it's concentrated there. Basso, the guard you were talking to, says, well, that's your cue. And he grabs your bundle of stuff, or just a bundle of stuff, whether it's yours or not, and shoves it into your hands. And is like, everyone, come get your gear and then walk through the smoke. What do you all do?
I grab my bag and put on my ringmail shirt as quick as possible. And just make sure that everything's in there.
Indeed. Valen, Kiva, Quinn, you're going to grab your stuff and walk in the smoke.
Yeah, I follow over there asking everybody if anybody sees a jar. It's pretty small. She was frail, but it just a jar of remains, please.
Yeah, and Kiva very pointedly looks at the smoke, kind of makes a little that's not so bad after all, like noise, and puts his apron on and pulls the mask down over his face, and just strides right into the smoke.
Yeah. Quinn, takes her stuff, her clothes, which is, I think the clothes that she's wearing looks like a wedding dress that has definitely seen better days. So then she has like the black veil over their face. And lastly, she will take the amulet, which is like an anatomically correct heart that seems to be still beating. And she like puts it on and just says, guide me, darling. I am making my way home to you. And then she will go into the smoke.
Yeah, that's when Valen gives her like, okay, I'm gonna follow her.
And everyone walks through the smoke. The set goal is accomplished. Congratulations. The smoke has a very unfortunate effect on you all. Not terribly unfortunate, but let's just say, unforeseen side effects. Kiva, you are struck with nausea. Please take the condition, nausea. Basso, when you step through the smoke, you discover that your right hand didn't make the trip. Please take the condition, no right hand. Valen, you just take a great big lungful of it and just take the condition, smoke-filled lungs. You'll be coughing and dealing with that until you get it taken care of. And Quinn, you're not affected by it at all, actually. You're okay. But your amulet has changed. How so?
I think where before it seemed to just be beating, it seems as if the smoke has collected inside of it, and there's almost like a light or a flickering, like the flickering that I saw before, that is now captured within the heart, just beating, just flickering.
I love it. Pushing through the smoke, you find yourselves approaching a rundown little village from the south. In the distance, in front of a half-rotted inn, a man in a suit of armor seems to be kind of like stretching to look at the four of you coming up. And he smiles and he gives you a wave.
Does his armor match the guards that we just left at all?
You might be able to determine that if you get closer, but from this distance, you can't tell.
Yeah,
At a
I'll
glance,
walk
though, I
up.
will tell you that the town itself consists of 2 dusty streets, a small square, and not much else. There's a few little buildings and things. I'll give you a little map. Everyone likes a map.
A Morkborg map.
Let's see here. I gotta find my. I think I've managed to accidentally close the character keyboard. Here we go. A map of Sonderfall. I'm going to share the link with you here. Oh, regrettably, it pasted in the wrong orientation, so give me 1 second. I don't know how to make it flip. Maybe that's it. There we go. That kind of works. Let's do that. Good. I've got a link for you here. Pretty simple map. The numbers are for me, so don't worry too much about the numbers on it. But yeah, you're approaching from the south, and the inn is that series of buildings there that's labeled 5. And you see that man, the armored man, kind of waving at you. And you can kind of see some of these other little buildings and things. And you can even see the town square where there's this like kind of shallow pool and this statue. There's a small black cat on top of the statue's head, just looking at you. Otherwise, there's not much going on here. It seems pretty empty. Valen, you said you were going to approach the guard?
Yeah, I'll kind of wave back at him, walk up, stuttering through my words because of coming through the smoke.
He says, hello. I'm Helgir.
I'm Valen. I put my hand out. I'm Valen. Very nice to meet you.
Good. Splendid. What brings you here to Sunderfall?
Smoke, mainly. I was kind
Oh.
of sent here.
Sent here.
Yeah, me and
sent here.
I don't know if they're with me, but I'll like point behind me. Me and my friends, travelers.
Who sent you? Do you mind me asking?
You probably don't know who I'd be talking about.
Try
could
me.
Save us. King something or other.
King Fatmu.
That rings a bell. I couldn't be positive.
Hello.
I'm working on
to
behalf
the rest
of
you.
somebody.
Welcome to Sunderfall. Guess I'm the unofficial welcoming committee today.
Also tries to reach out his right hand, to shake it and introduce himself. And then when bowing his arm goes out, it enters his field of view and just becomes weirdly silent.
Indeed. Kiva, what do you do?
I'm kind of looking around a little bit, and kind of his greeting us snaps me back to attention. I say, yes, hello.
Are you
the
okay, friend? You look a little green in the gills.
the trip did not agree with me. Is there an inn where I might be able to get something to settle my stomach?
Yes, well, this is well what I suppose qualifies as an inn. He kind of points at the building behind him, one side of which looks like it's almost entirely collapsed. He says, I don't think they do much business, though. I'm not from around here myself either.
Were you sent as we were, or did you arrive through serendipity?
Yes, I was sent. I was hired by a priestess to come figure out what's going on here, and I was told that there would be others coming, but no one else ever came.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I am in no small amount of distress, and I will hurry towards the inn to see if I can find something, like I said, if there's somebody there that can help me with my current condition.
You have a set goal in the inn. Discover what happened to the other mercenaries.
I was just going to ask him when he said that if we're the first people you've seen.
Yes, I was told there would be other mercenaries joining me, but they never came.
We were told a group was sent through.
Multiple groups.
I was sent ahead of. I was like a scout, and I thought someone else would come.
Ago?
Oh well, not long at all. Probably. Well, it's like now that I think about it, it hasn't been that long. What are you doing in the meantime, Quinn?
I think since the others are talking, and at least for now, it seems like they've got that covered. I think she for a moment just looks and sort of tilts her head and gives this mercenary just this very eerie, intense look, as if trying to almost like pierce through a veil or something. Because, she is very attuned to trickery and liars and half truths, because that's how you deal with
to the guard.
demons.
You're looking at the guard.
Yeah.
He's totally lying.
Yeah. I think in that case, she walks up to him and just very conversationally, she says, people always talk about having a stomach for certain things, but it really is about the heart, isn't it? And she holds up the amulet and she says, the heart reveals everything, doesn't it?
It's like, I suppose. I'm not much for poetry, though.
No, you are also not much for lying. You're very bad at it.
I am not lying. I am just... I get a little nervous whenever I meet new people, that's all.
Aren't you interested in getting out? Isn't it better for us to just be straight with each other so that we may leave? Whatever happened here, it can stay between all of us.
I haven't been here long myself. I mean, I don't even...
Oh, but that is a lie. Quite desperate measures have been taken.
Meanwhile, Basso, the little cat in the square on the statue, has jumped down from the statue and is approaching you. It's a little black cat, and he has a string in his mouth, a black string, and he drops it at your feet.
Oh, I wanted to let him climb onto my shoulder and then take it out of his mouth, if that's okay.
Yeah, he won't climb on your shoulder, but you can take the string though.
I'll do that.
And then it just wanders off.
Okay.
What do you do?
Where does it wander? Does it wandering back to the statue, or is it wandering somewhere else?
Hmm. 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 It wanders back to the statue.
Yeah, I'll follow it and see what's up with that statue.
You have a set goal, which is for the whole town. Discover what lies below. Kiva, you are in the inn. It is clearly abandoned. In fact, let's paint the scene, everybody. Looking around, how does Kiva know that this inn hasn't been used in a long time?
Um, uh, um, like, like any fittings that any like brass or like the brass foot rail, or like nails have been pulled out and stuff like that. Anything useful in terms of like or even nominally valuable in terms of decoration has been stripped from the place.
All the casks are empty for the bar.
Yeah, and there's if only the few things we do see are a few cups laying on the bar that are completely cobwebbed over, all like Goonies.
I think we see not quite a podium, but like this very small raised bit where maybe, musicians or very drunk people did karaoke for entertainment or something. And I think we see that there's just like this hole in it, and the few instruments that are there are just like thrown around and very dusty and broken, and nobody bothered to fix it.
Kiva, what do you do?
I sigh and I say, surely there must be something. And I walk around behind the bar and I'm looking for, like, I just want to make myself some tea. That's all. Or even just some hot water so I can put some of my honey in it to settle my stomach.
They don't have there's no plumbing here. So the water, unless you go to a well, you're not gonna have any luck with that. But just generally, what are you doing? Are you like looking around, or how are you kind of?
Yeah,
approaching
like
the
I said,
situation?
I mean, if there's no water here, I am going behind. I'm going to walk around behind the bar and start rooting around. Like I said, just to find something I can drink out of, some kind of drinking vessel that is intact and not moldy, and whatever that I can have a beverage out of.
Yeah, make a hunt roll. Yeah.
All right. So, I have foraging as a skill.
I love it. Take 2 dice.
Yeah, so this is just rooting around. 2 dice here. Token, but something terrible.
I think that the bar is in a slightly raised portion. You have to go up some steps, then you're kind of going up there. And it gives you a good view of, there's essentially kind of roughly 2 halves to the inn. And you notice that one half is quite collapsed. There's a hallway that leads to it, and it is not collapsed to the point where you can't pass through it. There's like you could probably crawl through, but yeah, there's a whole side of it that is not like easy access.
And does it look like, is this more than just like time and weather? Does it look like something catastrophic, like actively collapsed it, or am I able to tell?
Let me take a look at your skills. Foraging, hunting, paths, saints. Between hunting, paths, and foraging, I'll tell you that it looks like a sinkhole opened up
Got it. Okay, sure. That it collapsed down into the earth as opposed to just, like
Not from
that
above,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So whatever that thing, the saying in New England, if you want to take a barn down, you just cut a hole in the roof and wait 5 years. It's not that kind of thing, but it's actively failing. Cool.
Yeah. Valen, what are you doing right now?
I think that I'm still talking to the mercenary, especially after Quinn had mentioned that he was lying, because I don't know if Valen kind of picked up on that, and she's pretty matter of fact, and she's been the one that's talking to him, so he's immediately in her corner.
Well, so Quinn, where are you going with this interrogation?
I think she's just kind of trying to like fluster some more truth out of him, like by being so strange and weird and creepy that he's just like, whatever, I'll bill you something, just leave me alone. I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, and Valen's like, I know her, and she's peculiar. She knows she knows how to pick up on things. And I'm kind of backing her up a little bit to help fluster him.
I like this. I'm going to keep it in the realm of hunt roll, since you're still trying to get information ultimately. I'll give you 2 dice because Valen's backing you up, Quinn. So go ahead. I think I need to click on the die roller again.
A 4.
Oh, there we go. Fine. Not see anyone's dice, but I think I'll just take your word on it. A 4. Take your token. And he's looking at your amulet. He's looking at Valen. He looks around and realizes there's no one else around. It's kind of a 2-on-1 situation. And he says, like I said, I don't know anything about any other mercenaries. There was supposed to be some right behind me. I thought at first perhaps you were it, but I can see now that maybe that's not the case. And he says, I think you'll discover that the people of this little burg are, they have some big ideas about how the world works. I think it's best to not interfere. Keep to yourself as best you're able. That's been my policy since I arrived not long ago. Now, if you'll excuse me. And he is heading back towards the inn. Go ahead, Quinn.
I think before he leaves, I think Quinn just like looks at him and says, "Have you no one to return to?"
He says, well, it's not a matter of me returning to someone. It's someone finding me. And he goes in. Also, you go into the
more
little...
about the string.
What about the string?
Was there anything else interesting about the string, or is it just
It's a piece of black string.
Okay.
Cats sometimes just grab things and put them in their mouth.
Yeah. Don't I know it?
But the town square, I'll tell you a little bit more about it.
Cool.
At a glance, anyway. Yeah, there's a shallow pool in the center of town. And there's this statue. It's unclear who the statue is supposed to be. It has been weathered pretty badly. You can't make out its facial features. One of the statue's hands has even been eroded away. And the cat just curls up at the statue's feet and takes a little nap. What do you do?
I'm gonna try to push the statue over.
To accomplish what?
I think so my gut on if the cat's curling up on its feet, it might be warmer there.
Oh, interesting.
There's something underneath it.
You can make a hunt roll.
Okay. And I use athletics.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay. 4.
Take your token. You go to push over the statue, and I think you just can't. It's too heavy, too bolted into the ground. But the cat, when it sees what you're trying to do, wakes up and hisses.
Okay.
What do you do?
I'll try to shoo the cat away. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it'll kind of skulk off and turn around and hiss again, and then walk off.
Can I go check that pool?
Sure. At a glance, the pool is it's a sundial. It has like a cross sort of thing in the middle, and as the sun hits it, it tells the time. Inside there's some markings underneath the water. What do you do then?
Well, what time is it?
Good question. It is currently, I'd say it's like late in the afternoon.
Yeah.
How does that relate to the time that we walked into the smoke?
I hadn't thought about it, but I will say it's pretty, yeah, sure. I think it's probably around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. I pick around this well and see if I can find anything like loose stones or pretty much anything that's loose or it seems off about it.
Yeah, we'll come back to this. Kiva, what do you do? The soldier comes in and he goes off to the opposite side of the collapse side. He must have requisitioned a room for himself here or something. You hear him opening the door and going in.
Oh, so he's actually like there, but there's no innkeeper or anything,
He's
right?
just squatting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And I say to him, are you sure that that's safe? You mentioned something about companions joining you. Were you here when it collapsed? Or perhaps I hate to be the one to suggest this, but perhaps they might be in the rubble.
He says, I don't think that's not that's nothing to concern yourself with, if you'll excuse me. And he basically grabs like his gear from his room, and he says, I wish you and your companions the best of luck with whatever you're here to do. And he goes out another entrance, like a side entrance, a northern side entrance, walks down the hall and exits the inn.
And I look at him go, and I sigh. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this, aren't I? And I, you know, I go in and I'm gonna look, I'm gonna, kind of scour the room that he just left, look around and see if he left anything behind, or because whenever someone tells you that needn't concern you, what they're saying is that really should concern you. So,
Make a hunt roll.
all right.
You can take foraging.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I get a token straight up.
Indeed. Let me tell you what you find.
In addition to telling me whatever I find as for rolling the 6,
Mhm.
I'd love to spend one of my 2 to get a gold. So you can also give me something that's worth a gold that I scrounge up in
Yeah,
there.
sounds good. I'll tell you what you find though. Well, you do actually find. Well, so tell me how you're searching, because it's a room. It's moldy and kind of in disrepair, but was a room.
Yeah, I mean, and so like, I'm like, I don't care about like getting messy or dirty or any of this kind of stuff. Like, I live in the woods and stuff like that. I probably got, whatever, a little bit of like sticks in my hair and stuff like this. So I just, I'm like flopping on my belly and looking under the bed and stuff like this. And mostly I'm kind of like scrabbling along on the ground looking for things that got dropped. I don't necessarily expect to find, like whatever, like that he's hidden something beneath a floorboard compartment or something, but just stuff that got left behind.
Yeah,
Or
no, it's good.
Yeah.
Good score. You find a sack of silver. It's worth 1 gold. You can put 1 gold in your tracker. And the treasure you found for spending the token, you actually find a little leather, like a little leather rolled pouch, inside of which are 2 glass tubes with fluids in them. Quinn and Balin, I will tell you that you hear the door chunk chunk. There's another entrance into the inn on the north side, and you see this guard or this mercenary. You see him walking away from the inn in a sort of, I would say, a sort of like northerly direction.
What do you think? Does he
Basso,
still
you'll
have?
see that as well from where you're at. You'll see that man walking essentially up the kind of like the other road that goes into town, kind of walking up that road.
I like look at Valen and says, "What do you think? Does he still have more secrets to reveal to us? Or is he just a vain idiot wasting his time?"
I think that you shook him one. I think you scared him pretty good, but
I
I don't
have
know
that
if
effect
he's.
on people.
Yeah, well, it's fine. I like it. I
At this
think that
point,
he's.
you all take in a great big lungful of black smoke. Your vision is suddenly obscured by black smoke. And you find yourself stepping through a cloud of black smoke on the southern road into Sunderfall. You see the partially collapsed inn up ahead. You see the man in the armor. He's stretching up, looking at you. And he smiles and he waves. Let's take a 5-minute break. The smoke has the same effects on you. You see the mercenary. He smiles and waves. You see the square, the statue. pool. There's a person in the square now. And they're standing there singing a song. The guard waves. Valen, what do you do?
I wave at him and walk up to him again. After I give everybody a little bit of a weird look.
He says, "Hello?
Hello, I'm Valen. Put my hand out just like the first time.
Ah, Valen, hello. I am very good to meet you. My name is Helgir."
Wow. And how long have you, or who are you? What are you doing here? I've noticed I only see 2 people outside. The inn looks in disrepair.
Looks like you're the welcoming committee, Kiva interjects and kind of raises an eyebrow and looks at his companions.
He says, "Well, yes, I suppose I am the sort of unofficial welcoming committee now, aren't I? Though I haven't been here long myself, truth be told."
How long has it been since you've been here?
Oh, well, it's been, oh, funny thing. I can't really say. It hasn't been long though. Of that, I'm certain.
I understand that feeling.
Basso, what are you doing?
I'm booking it past everyone to go to that well or the pond.
When you walk over to the well, the cat, which is sleeping at the feet of the statue, wakes up long enough to give you a look that if cats could roll their eyes, that's what it would look like, and then goes back to sleep. There's a person in the square who was not there before, singing this strange song. As you get closer, you realize now that they're wearing a mask, a sort of stone mask, and they have a sort of heavy red velvet traveling cloak. They're standing by the pool, and they're swaying back and forth as they sing their song. What do you do?
Hey, stop that. What's going on here?
To the singing person?
Yep.
There's no reply.
No response. They just keep going. Yeah, then I'm gonna do what I was trying to do before the black smoke came and poke around at all the bricks and try to see if I can find anything loose in the well.
In the well, yeah.
Or the pond.
Yeah. It's a sundial slash fountain, I guess. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a hunt roll.
I don't think I have anything. Well, can I get a stick to poke with?
Yeah, if you want to pull something like that from your equipment, or just find a stick, I suppose, in the environment somewhere.
Yeah, I'll pull out, I think 10-foot poles in here, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I am pull out my 10-foot pole. And I just poke.
Yeah.
Yep. 6.
Good. Take your token. I'll tell you what you find in a bit. Anyway, Talgir says, or what's his name? Talgir?
Helgir.
It's in our records, yeah.
Helgir. Helgir says, "Yes, well, so what brings all of you here to Sonderfall exactly?"
I think that after he says that, Valen totally, the whole deja vu feeling, but he turns around, So his back is to Helgir, and he just gives Quinn like wide eyes, like, you seem to understand weird stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think Quinn has just been like smiling, delighted at this whole thing. She doesn't seem very phased. She seems to be amused more than anything. And I think she will look at Phelan and say, well, I don't think our welcome committee is going to tell us anything new. Perhaps you would like to accompany me on a stroll. And I like nudge my head in the direction that we last saw the person go before we inhaled the smoke.
Just
Yeah,
to,
Valen
yeah.
will just nod at you and very, very awkwardly, I guess, leave Kiva to have the conversation with this guy since he wasn't here last time. And just like apparently completely ignore this dude. And I turn my back to him and then I just walk off, more or less.
Quinn like offers you her arm as if,
Yeah.
like going for a dainty little stroll.
Yeah.
So you're going to head the direction that he headed before.
Yeah,
Yes.
northernly, I think is what you said.
Yeah,
it's
after
actually,
he
like,
left the inn.
yeah, like the road that kind of like is sort of northwest, going out of the town. That's the direction he was going. You can head that way. You'll walk by Basso if you take the town square route. Walk by Basso poking in the.
I do have a
the
question.
fountain.
Does the cat still have a threat, or is the threat like somewhere on the floor, or?
Fabulous question. I'm not going to make you roll. The cat is just sleeping at the foot of the statue, at the base of the statue, and it does not appear to have a string.
Okay.
Kiva, what are you
If
doing right now?
I look at the others and I kind of pat myself. Do I still have that silver pouch and the
You
two
do.
vials that I found?
Yes, you do.
I kind of look at them. And I make a show of clutching my stomach and putting my hand over my mouth and saying, if you'll excuse me, please, I'm in some distress. And I make a beeline for the inn.
Helger
And
says, sure, certainly.
And I'm going straight to his room to see if I can find, like, if I find another sack of silver in there.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely go in there. He's kind of like, okay. And then the two of you walked off. And so he's like, oh, well, bye-bye then. And you all just sort of rushed past him. So he's like, he just goes back into the inn. Basso, you're poking around in this little fountain. You got your token. And let me see if you found anything else. Or found anything at all. No, there's nothing in it. Well, sure. You're poking around. You're not seeing anything in the water, but there is a piece of paper floating on top. Do you take it?
Yeah, I'll grab it.
She'll tell you what you find. This is for you. Also. Meanwhile, that singing continues, Basso. Quinn and Valen, you're going up this road. And You come upon what appears to be an overgrown ruin. You don't go very far, maybe just it's not even a quarter of a mile away. You come upon this overgrown ruin. Crumbling sandstone structures. The whole thing choked with old growth and new growth. What do you do?
I think when just like gasps in the light, it's beautiful. And then just like goes to, I think, kind of just to like look what it may have been at some point, if there is something more to it. I think this thing between just admiring how beautiful it is and kind of investigating it and the structure.
And what are you doing, Valen?
I think he'll definitely go up and poke around. He's a little more apprehensive though, so I'm gonna be watching my feet more than anything, really, because don't want to be tangled up.
I'll give you both hunt rolls.
Would you say that my skill of patience could help me out here as I'm, like just calmly taking everything in and not rushing or
Yeah, and carefully kind of moving things and detritus and whatnot. Yeah, I'm into that. Go ahead and roll 2 dice.
I don't think it would.
I saw double 4s.
Oh, okay. I'll refresh.
I don't know if anybody else saw it.
I can't get the die roller to show me anything right now. What's going on?
I saw 2 4s. Yeah.
There we go. Back in those.
There's a bug where sometimes it disconnects the WebSocket and then you lose everything.
I've never had any trouble with it before.
I know that it's there.
Yeah, no, you would know. Take your token, and Valen, what'd you get?
I don't really think I can lobby for much more than 1 die. I mean, I have a deduction. That'd be the only other thing.
I don't think the circumstances really deduction would help precisely right now. So go ahead and just roll 1 die.
Perfect.
6 though. Take your token as well. I will tell you there is a set goal here, which is find the temple entrance. Quinn, at a glance, this appears to be the ruins of a temple, a church, some structure like that, very, very old. That you can tell just from, well, how can you tell it used to be a place of worship?
I think as I walk, there's a crunching beneath my feet, and as I look down, there is the remnants of stained glass. And now that we've sort of noticed it, once you start looking around, there's all these flickerings of light, these shinies, and all around us seems to be like remnants of stained glass. Unclear exactly what they depict, broken as they are, but clearly like some kind of imagery of saints or some kind of worship.
We'll come back to this scene. Kiva, you rushed into the inn, and his equipment's there because you took that last time, but the stuff that you took from underneath the bed is not there.
Interesting.
At a glance.
Yeah, and then I want to get out of the room quick before he comes back.
He's coming in right around that time as you come out.
Okay.
He says, if you're looking for a room, I've already claimed one. Sorry.
And I say, what do you know of the collapse of the this place? Did the earth just open beneath it, or were you here when it happened? It must have been a, or did you just come upon it like this?
He says, well, no, it was already like this when I got here. I was actually sent here. I was hired by a priestess working for King Fatmu to, well, I was supposed to come here and scout out what was going on in Sunderfall. I was led to believe that there were going to be others coming right behind me. But I suppose you're not them.
No, we were not so much hired as impressed into the service of the king. But now that we are here, perhaps there may be information or unclaimed things that travelers had within the ruins there. And I kind of do a little like a companionable like tap on the shoulder and say, a big strapping fellow such as yourself might have trouble scuttling around in there, but scrawny as I am, perhaps we could work together to extract whatever might be underneath.
Over on the collapsed side of the inn.
Surely there is. I mean, if it happened unexpectedly, surely there are.
That's not necessary at all. We don't have to do that. What could possibly be over there that the good people of Sunderfall haven't already managed to get out? It seems so pointless.
As far as I can tell, there are no good people of Sunderfall. Have you met any of them?
Well, I haven't exactly gone around bringing tea cakes and visitors' gifts or anything, but there are people. I've seen people. There are a pair of twins. There's a pair of twins that live in that strange building just across the yard. There's a shop. There's a farm. There are people.
And I sigh and I say, well, then I wish you luck. There isn't much to see, so whatever payment you receive, well, good luck getting that from the king is all I'm saying. And I will turn and kind of stroke my chin as I look at the collapsed inn.
He says, yes, thank you. And he kind of pushes past you to go to his room. Basso, you found this piece of paper. You can do whatever you want with it. But you're here with this strange masked individual who's singing in the square. What are you doing now?
How much string did the cat give me?
It's like just a it's a decent little, maybe 6 inches of length.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the other buildings that are here? So this 5 was the inn.
That's the
Where did Quinn and Phelan go?
They went up to like 1. They're way up there.
Oh, okay. What is 8? Farmhouse.
That is a farmhouse, yeah.
Okay.
And the buildings that you're closest to,
yeah,
4 and 6. I'll tell you what I can tell you. 1 is a shop.
Okay.
It's actually got a sign hanging out of it that says "the only shop."
I'll go there.
That is a thing. And then the other building is it's unclear what that is from the outside. It's just some building. But yeah, you can go to the only shop. Let me take a moment here to read this real quick. Yeah, I think when you step inside, it's small. poorly stocked at a glance. There's some dried meat, dried fruit, dried vegetables, dried bread, assorted trinkets and clothes and things. Dried. Maybe even a few weapons and armor and things like that that they've managed to get their hands on. But the pickings are otherwise pretty slim. There are 2 people in the shop when you go inside. You find their descriptions. One appears to be the shopkeeper, a woman. She's fairly nondescript looking, but she's behind the counter and she welcomes you as you walk in. The other is a girl, probably her daughter. She's busy putting some things on a shelf. The shopkeeper says, hello. I was wondering if you were going to come in or not.
Hi. Yeah, I'm looking for some more black thread like this. I was wondering if you might have some.
The little girl snatches it out of your hands and says, thank you very much. And then she runs out the shop.
Okay.
Shopkeeper says, sorry, I apologize. She's a very willful child.
Well, do you know where I could get a larger quantity of that?
The little black cat wanders into the shop, sniffing around. The shopkeeper gives the cat a sideways glance. Valen and Quinn, you're in the middle of your searching around. You see, unless Kiva stops him, you see the soldier coming up the road, or the mercenary coming up the road. Kiva, he just grabbed his stuff and left. What are you doing?
I'm gonna, watch him go, shrug, turn, and scramble through, whatever, like where a couple of collapsed beams are, down into the, into the collapsed part of the inn.
I think
Look
this is
around, see what I can
dangerous.
find.
This is a
Sure.
risk roll because there's an
Yeah.
inherent danger, I think, in trying to crawl around this space. Let's talk about dice.
Makes sense to me.
Well, first of all, everyone gets to say what could go wrong here if you fail, if this goes badly. Who has an idea?
I think the obvious thing is
So sorry, I'm just gonna time out just for a second as a player.
Mhm.
I don't want to be like extreme claustrophobia stuff is a little rough for me. So not like whatever that doesn't involve being like stuck entombed that I can't get out. So thank you.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I was just gonna say that
A beam falls on your head and crushes your skull.
That's a good one. I was thinking you were gonna climb up something and then you kind of fall from a good distance down onto something.
I think something will grab you.
I don't have anything else.
Let's talk about dice. Do you have a relevant skill here? Or equipment, I suppose.
I've got paths, so I'm attempting to find a safe way to get into this place to find something useful.
I'll take it. You've got 1 light die. Devil's bargains. Everyone can make an offer.
I think no matter what, you doing this is going to you're going to get injured or scarred in such a way that is like a big like a big stigma for the Southern Pass Company. You know, like some kind of superstition that they have, like if you have this particular mark on you, something's very wrong and evil about you. And I think having that will probably, you know, it's going to make your dealings with them even more difficult because they won't trust you.
So you're just trying to kind of carve a path through to the collapse side of the inn?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get in there to see if there's to get somewhere where I can actually, you know, look around and see what happened.
What about something like there's not you can get through, but there's not a safe way back the way you came. You got to find a different way out.
No, I like that. That's pretty good. I'll second that one. Any other offers?
No matter what, the black cat comes and spies you.
Oh, I really like the cat there with me, you know, because like it can find ways in and out that I absolutely cannot. So yeah, I think that's cool there for it to be there to, you know, whatever that means. Yeah, getting down there and it's already in there is a creepiness of its own. So yeah.
You've got 2 light dice, and I think a dark die is automatic here because of the danger. Go ahead and roll 2 light, 1
For
dark.
sure. Yeah.
6 dark. Your ruin goes up. I think your ruin is going to go up because you just take I think you just take like a bonk on the head when something shifts funny. Take a condition like rattled. But you're managing to work your way through. Basso, almost as soon as you say, "Where can I find more of this string?" and the cat walks in, shortly thereafter, the cat like looks up and looks over its shoulder and begins walking out the store again. What do you do?
I'm gonna follow him.
The shopkeep says, "Have a nice day." The cat goes to the inn, hops up into a window, a little tiny crack in the wall, more than a window, of the collapsed portion, and hops into that part of the inn. What do you do?
How high up is it?
It's not far, but you can't fit.
Oh, how sturdy is the outside of this inn?
This portion not sturdy at all.
I'm gonna just try to rip it apart.
Very good.
But I'll use my grappling hook to hook onto it and try to pull the wall down.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I like that. All right, so you managed to pull off one big cracking chunk. There's like as it peels off. Kiva, you hear it and you see it. You're crawling down.
Maybe that's why I get that bonk in the head. I was fine until
Yeah, exactly.
somebody started pulling it down on me. Yeah.
And there's a cat. The black cat is there, and it grabs something on the ground, a bit of black string. It walks right up to your face, Kiva, and drops it in front of you.
Thank you. I'll pause for a moment and I'll look at the cat and I'll just kind of go down and like get it in my teeth and kind of look at the cat like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Quinn and Valen, Helgeir is now poking around the ruin. He's not aware of you yet. What are the two of you going to do?
I would like to, if I notice him first, then I would like to kind of stay quiet and watch what he does before I say anything.
I would like this as a risk roll to see if you can observe him without being noticed. Quinn, what are you going to do?
I think she's sort of just going to continue and like try to get deeper in the ruin and see if there's more interesting things. I don't think that she's too concerned or interested in this person.
Balin, let's do a risk roll. Jim, you can say what could go wrong here.
I mean, I mean, he's going to think they're responsible for whatever happened to his friends. Like he's gonna immediately turn his suspicion on them.
Interesting. I'll think about that. Let's talk about dice. Balin, do you have a die that would help you with keeping quiet?
No, not with keeping quiet, I don't think.
Any other skills or equipment that would help you?
Deduction.
Oh, I'll kind of take that. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty fair because you might be need to figure out what he's doing more than like
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm intently watching to see what his like what's the point? What's he rooting around for?
Yeah.
Why is he rooting around?
Jazzy, you can make the devil's bargain.
I think as you like, observe this person, I think you will find on him like a breast pocket or something. This paper signed by the Justicors, and you know that it's like something that would give you favor with them, or it has their seal on it or something.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I like that.
You've got 2 light dice. And I don't think I need a dark yet. So go ahead and just roll 2 light.
Okay.
Five dark, you succeed. But there's a complication. He walks over to what appears to be a pile of pews that were in this like temple, this cathedral at one time. They're mildewy and old and overgrown. And he begins pulling them back. Quinn, I still owe you something terrible from your last roll, and I haven't forgotten about it.
Maybe what might help sort of set the scene is I am specifically looking for curtains or veils, threats, or something that depicts tears or is water, if that helps.
Interesting. Maybe. But for now, you both have the taste of smoke in your mouth. Kiva and Basso, from your different vantage points, the last thing you see is there's a pit in the collapsed portion of the inn, and you have smoke in your eyes and mouth. And you step through the smoke, all 4 of you. You see the tiny village of Sunderfall up ahead. You see the inn. You see Helgir looking at you, smiling, waving. And I think we'll just call it a little early today. Let's go to stars. No, not quite yet. There's also one other person in the square now. This person is on their hands and knees. and they occasionally look up. Cat wanders by, ducking underneath this strange, yearning person to go back to his perch on the statue. And that will end the session. Let's do our debrief. Our debrief is stars and wishes. Stars are things that you enjoyed about the session, either the role play, the game, the module itself, anything you would like. Wishes are things that you hope to see in the story next time. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I pretty much star everything about Kiva. I'm a huge fan of the whole top to bottom. I'm digging it.
Yeah, for stars, for the game in general, I really love the cat. I really love mysterious cats doing mysterious, eerie things. So I really, really love that that is a thing. Also, I love the time loop. That's also 100% my thing. I was so hyped when that happened. I know it's probably not good for our characters, but I'm really into it. I really love it. For Kiva, also agreed, just so fun. I really love the way that you started this by sort of, immediately being onto like, well, this is going to be worse than being looked up because like they're not giving us something nice. I thought that was a very interesting look into who Kiva is as a person. For Valen, I really loved that he sort of like adopted Quinn. Is like, you're weird, but sure, I'm on your side. I got you. I thought that was a very fun and cute dynamic. And also kind of being like, you're weird, but in this case, that's actually helpful. So I am going to listen to you and follow you, which I thought was very interesting. And for Basso, I really liked just like the determination and just like I just book it past everyone. Like I don't even care. I want to fix the thing, right? I want to do the thing and just get on with it. I really thought that was fun to kind of get that determination of just go, just do it, which is interesting. And for Jason, for the GMing, I can really love the cat. It was so great. Also, I just think like the atmosphere and the eeriness and like the emptiness of the town and everything that's going on. I think that's really, really well done. And it's just like such a fun atmosphere for the game. And for wishes, I would love to interact maybe next session more with Kiva or Bezo, because I think this session was very Quinn and Valen kind of exploring that dynamic. So I'm interested to see what the others, how that would be. Also very interested to share some information on the paper that we found and how that might affect people's actions about certain things. I also think it's very interesting that we all kind of decided to keep it for ourselves, like instinctively. At first, we're like, I don't trust these people. I think that was very fun. But yeah, very interesting to see that. And then, of course, like explore more because something very creepy is going on. And I really like that.
I personally, I think Basso just kept it to himself because he's like, I'm not going to go track all these people down to show them this thing. We're going to be together again in a second. But stars, I really liked Valen and Quinn. I know we've said that, but just that relationship, the little walking arm in arm off was great. I loved Kiva, just the beekeeper vibe. Just really good. And then Jason, I love the cat. I don't know, there's something just so creepy about the interactions between the cat and everything else so far. I'm looking forward to that. Wishes. Oh, I have one more star. I liked, I don't know if one thing that I like about the module so far, I don't know if this is going to keep. I have a suspicion that it's probably not going to continue this way, but I really liked how it was really, the risk rolls were really focused on kind of your interactions with the environment as opposed to like monsters or something, or enemies or something. And just the kind of, I think you're doing a really good job of it feels like a mystery, and which I think is a little difficult in gold or trophy gold, but it feels really good. Wishes, I want to solve this. I want to solve the puzzle. I need to solve the puzzle.
Yeah, stars to all around for everybody's characters are great. One of the things I love about this is we start with 3-4 very general elements, and really quickly everybody finds their character and kind of zooms in on it. This almost has a little bit of like a teen show sort of feel to it, kind of with what we've got going on right now. And like, Quinn and Valen are the art school kids, or like the goths or whatever. And Basso is the jock, and Kiva's like the 4-H kid or something like that. It's got a little bit of that sort of vibe going on. But everybody was fantastic. And like, in particular, Jazzy, that thing where like Quinn is happy to, like, Quinn understands that people think she's weird, and how much of that is cultivated, how much of it, like on purpose to unsettle people, how much of it is, earned or a result of trauma or something like that. That's going to be fun to see play out. But that was definitely something that I was getting off of that, is that kind of like, like how much of this is just weird on purpose because it unsettles people, and how much of it is that's just who she is. It was fun to watch that play out through the session there. Basso being cranky about missing his hand. He's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna knock this statue over. That was great. I just gotta just push it over and see if there's anything, kind of like, what excuse do you use for that? I don't know. Maybe there's something underneath it. That was very those a very OSR moment. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, and Valen, super dubious about everything that's going on, which I really like. So having a lot of fun with that. Which is absolutely, I want to see the characters get together and have some interaction, and have us have a reason to actually become companions, if not friends. And because we've got, what do we have, 3 separate set goals kind of floating around out there right now that we're sort of working on, that we have uncovered, but to maybe focus our efforts on solving 1 or 2 of them, so that we're not just, so that we don't like, end after 3 sessions with like, whatever, all of them 2/3 solved. I want to make sure we do focus on a few of them. So, but having a great time so far. Really looking forward to the next couple sessions.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was very I had a lot of like not apprehensions, but like I've never really run a module like this before. And I had the like dual tricky thing of like adapting this very structurally strange module to Trophy Gold, which is like, so I gave myself like a lot of work to do. Not a lot of like time put in work, but just like kind of cognitive work, there's a lot to like kind of manage. And I think I've got it pretty well under control. A star for the module. The module is, despite it's sort of like puzzle box intricacy, it's really easy to navigate and find the things that you need to make it work. It's a really, really well done module. Just like in terms of like the design, like it's meant to be used, and it works really well. It's particularly good in PDF form, because of the way it links to things. As far as the game, yeah, I think it's always really fun when you have a brand new group of characters trying to see like trying to watch the players like sort of grab on to like some of you said, like grab onto a few elements and like let that be the thing that defines the character. I think that's the right move in the beginning of a story, and I think everyone did a really good job with that. I liked the I liked the sort of like I like the like different way that you interacted with Hellgear once you knew kind of what was happening. It was fun to like see that sort of like revised approach to Hellgear, and it was really fun that like you all like realized like, oh, I have to like he's going somewhere. We know he's going somewhere. Let's go see where he's going, right? And so I thought that was really great fun. Just to kind of see all that play out, it was really, really enjoyable for me. Yeah, wishes. I mean, like, I know kind of big picture what's happening in the story, but I will be curious to see. There are some choices you have to make at a certain point that we'll be curious to see what where you go with it. So I'm curious to see that. I am interested to see if like our own like at the table story contributions, like how they are incorporated into the ongoing story. We haven't seen too much of it yet, but I think we'll be. I'm very curious to see how that's going to go. So yeah, but yeah, overall great time. Had a really good time. Any other stars or wishes?
One of the things I thought that was really cool, you said about Trophy handling an adventure like this, and this just as you were talking about this like a big light bulb that went off for me, which is find a way out of the loop or break the loop or figure out what's going on with the loop, not a set goal. So we know that that's a thing that's just going to happen. And we don't need to be worried about investigating what's behind it or what's going on with it or trying to find hunt tokens to deal with it or anything like that. It's basically like an understood, it's table stakes because it's not like there's not a set goal associated with it. Now it may tie into what lies beneath or whatever, but not making it a set goal takes having to worry about it off the table in a way that I thought was really cool. And, you know, and kind of liberating to not worry about that. We just know it's a thing that's going to happen and we're not, you know, like working to try and subvert it or whatever. I thought that was really cool and worked really well with the way Trophy handles stuff like that in directing you to what's important.
Yeah, figuring out what the set goals were going to be for this was really tricky and like there was a real consideration of like not just like space but like time, right? Like literally like time is a consideration here, right? And also making the set goals vague enough so that it preserved the mystery of what's going on a little bit, right? I don't normally care about that too much in games, but I wanted to here, and so I've you know, I'm real cagey about like what lies below. Who the hell knows what that means? But that's the goal. So you know, if I told you what's down there, it would like, you know, not, you know, be great. But yeah, it's interesting. I've done modules in the past. In fact, the classic dungeon magazine module, The Ghost of Mistmore, I've done it where the set goals are like are based off like timed events. So that adventure takes place over the course of a single night. And so I've had the set goals like basically if you don't accomplish it by X time on the clock, it retires and a new one comes in, right? And this is kind of like that. There are certain things that like if you don't get it done at a certain point, you can't do it anymore. So that'll be fun to see how it plays out. But
yeah, I was gonna say it felt a lot like the listen through I did that the run of Mistmore that you did.
Yeah, it's got a lot of similar. They're kind of similar in a lot of ways. Not like substantively similar, but like similar in like they have some structural similarities, which I think is interesting. So
yeah. Funny enough, I just listened to the Fear of a Black Dragon Ghost of Mistmore.
On Ghost of Mistmore, yeah.
You guys did, yeah.
Well, there are no fake ghosts in that one. This one, so that's at least one thing. Spoilers for a 30-year-old module.
One more thing I wanted to mention, and I really like the visual callbacks and stuff. I like how Jason, when he found the statue's hand was gone.
Yeah,
and obviously so was his. But I just like little stuff like that.
Yeah. Any other stars or wishes? Or just anything else? Okay. In that case, let's wave goodbye to everybody watching the video. Goodbye, everyone watching the video.